Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce our district governor, Mark Hegstrom. Mark joined the Rotary Club of Edina Morningside in 2002 and served as their club president in 2008-2009, and has since worked in the District 5950 on numerous committees for the Rotary Foundation, the District Conference, and in membership. Mark was known as Marketing Mark in promoting the district convention, and many also know Mark as Membership Mark. As a champion of the Rotary Foundation, Mark and his wife Colleen are major donors and Paul Harris Society members. He grew up in Edina and graduated from Edina High School in 1983, and then went on to earn his bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Minnesota. Mark and his wife Colleen have two adorable grandchildren, and not with his grandchildren, he enjoys golfing. He is the owner and managing partner of Waterfront Financial Group in Golden Val-ley. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to our district governor, Mark Hegstrom.
Thank you. Nice job. No. Thank you. Hi, Diane. Well, it's sure great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here early. This is, I've seen about 15 clubs so far, and it's been really exciting. Of course, I would say that, though. So you probably wonder why I would be district governor. I've asked myself the same question. I do it because somebody asked me. Alex, are you going to hand out those things? Thanks. We got a little handout coming around. And somebody asked me to do it, and so I put my application in to be considered, and it was voted upon, and I was really happy to get this opportunity. As you know, I still work, and so some people ask me, well, how do you have the time? And that's another question I wonder about. But I've thought a lot about it, and we all have 24 hours a day. And I've said this before, some of you may have heard this, is that deep in the Serengeti right now, there's somebody with a knife in his mouth, and he's going through the tall grass, and he's got a spear on his back and maybe wearing a loincloth. And with his 24 hours, he's looking for something to eat. Right now, it's 5 minutes to 2 in Haiti, and there's a young girl with her girlfriends, and they're now in the tough part of the day. They've been skipping along, having a great time with their empty buckets. They've gotten now to where they get the water. They've filled up this 5-gallon pail and hiked it up onto their head, and that 40 pounds is now going to be on top of their head, pressing down on their discs and causing a lifetime of back problems because of it. I do the district governorship for that girl and her sisters and her friends. I do that because Rotary can do something about it and is doing something about it. I know that the reason she's going and getting the water is because she doesn't go to school. And the reason she doesn't go to school is because she's reached puberty. And because she's reached puberty, she doesn't have a bathroom at school to be private about this new matter for which she doesn't know how to handle. In District 5950, we've had a sew-a-thon, and we've put together satchels that include reusable pads and tampons and things that she can use. Rotary can build the well there. Rotary can teach people how to build the parts and fix the well and keep it going. And Rotary can help with her to by building a bathroom. She can stay in school, and her sisters can stay in school, and her friends can stay in school. And when they stay in school, they can graduate and learn and go on and be productive in a different way than 5 gallons of water each day. That's why I do this, is because we come from District 5950, and District 5950 does a ton of that kind of work, and I thank you, and I know that your club does that too. I was asked several years ago when I was president if I would join the Paul Harris Society. And I remember asking, what is it? Well, it's becoming a Paul Harris Fellow every year. So that's $1,000 a year? Yep. I said, well, what happens if I don't become a Paul? What happens if I can't give $1,000 that in a particular year? After all, it was when I was president. The year was 2008 and 2009. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And $1,000 seemed like it meant something else at that time. I thought about it for a second, a lot longer than it's taken me to explain this, I might add. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll agree to $1,000. You know how you eat an elephant? Anybody know? One bite at a time, right? That's a great one, isn't it? I don't like elephant that much, but I have eaten some elephants. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds gross. So I can see that I have changed out some of my money, but every week I come home and on the island there are 5 20s. I come home and I pick it up usually on Friday, and I look at it and I count it. My wife is usually there. That's my allowance. I look forward to that $100 every single Friday. When it's not there, I have to ask her about it. The other day, I got it on Wednesday. I said, why are we getting it on Wednesday? Well, she ran out of money. See, she's got the key to getting all the 20s. So the first thing I do is I peel off a $20 bill. That's the first thing I do, and I put it in a box that I have that looks like this little briefcase. It's a mini thing you might handcuff to your hand if you were filling it full of cash. And I put all my change in there, and I take these 20s, and eventually they become a roll. And this morning I grabbed the roll. Here it is. And every week I put $20 in and I roll it up like this. And after 50 weeks, is your name Jordan? Do you know how much money I have in here, Jordan, after 50 weeks of putting $20? $1,000 is exactly right. And I take that $1,000 and it looks just like that. And I say to the bank teller, I would like to put this roll of money in my checkbook. He looks at me kind of strange and takes the rubber band off and kind of fans it out and puts it in the money counting machine. He says, it's $1,000. I said, I know. I want that to go in my account. Puts it in my account. The next day I go to Rotary.org and I give it to Rotary. The other day, I had a letter on the island next to the 20s. And it said, Dear Mark and Colleen, thank you for your major gift. Now, my wife was in the kitchen at the time, and she was doing dishes. I think she was just kind of waiting for me to get home. And she says, yeah, did you see that letter? Yeah, I saw the letter. She goes, it says we gave a major gift. How much was it? Or she says, what was it? I said, we gave $10,000. What? Normally we would talk about this before such an event. And I said, yep, every week when I pick up these 20s, I put $20 in this box. And then over the last 10 years, that's how I've given $10,000. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and I said, what'd you do with your money? Anyway, our district has a lot of Paul Harris Society members in it. Around the world, there are only 3%. Pardon me? 237. I mean, the person that knows this number is right here. And worldwide, there are 3% of Rotarians in this group of Paul Harris Society. People that have done like I have done and made Rotary my charity of choice. I do this so much that when people call me on the phone, and it's often, they ask me to participate. And I remember that Bob from the firefighters calls. He's probably called you. He's very friendly. He says, "Hey, Mark, it's Bob from the firefighters. I hope I can count on your support again this year." He's really good and friendly, like we're best pals. And I said, "Bob, you know, I have been thinking about that." I said, "How much actually goes to the firefighters?" And I can hear him on the phone. I can hear some papers rustling. And he goes, 57% goes. And I said, "Wow, well, what happens to the other money?" He said, "Well, Mark, you know, it takes money to make money." And I said, "Boy, do I know that." I said, "I understand that you have to get paid and that's how you do it." I said, "Bob, are you a firefighter?" "Well, no, I'm not. This is just my job." And I get that too. I get that too. But you know what? I've decided to make my charity of choice Rotary, because 95 cents of every dollar goes to the charity. And so that's what I've decided to do. And you know what? You can hear the paper, and there's nothing, because you can't say anything to that. You can't, there is no objection, there's no response. That's it. Well, thank you, Mark. Well, thank you, Bob. Good night. And that's the end of that conversation. So I invite you to join me. We're trying to get 2 new Paul Harris Society members in each club this year, so we can get over 350 folks in this prestigious group where we have more than 10% in the Paul Harris Society. This district is so generous in giving that we rank in the top 15 or so in the world in giving. So I'm not asking you to give more. I'm just asking you, if you're willing to make Rotary your charity of choice, why, I'd appreciate it. I know another thing that I do is, I was just on there this weekend as I was buying a speaker, is I go to Amazon, and at Amazon, I first type in the word smile, then dot, then Amazon, then .com. Smile.amazon.com. If you do that, you can put the charity that you want between 1% and 4% of your purchase to go towards. Wow, I buy a lot of stuff at Amazon. I buy a lot of stuff on this credit card, things that are Rotary related. It's got End Polio Now right there. $3.2 million has gone to End Polio Now since the year 2000 from this credit card from Bank America. $8.6 million has gone to the annual fund. You get this credit card, you carry this credit card, you put that credit card in the chip reader, and somebody says, "What's on that?" "No, that's Rotary. I'm a member of Rotary." Polio Plus. Speaking of Polio Plus, we're trying to get this job done. And really, we're this close. And why are we this close? Because 30 years ago, in 1985, we had 400,000 cases of wild polio in the world. Today, we're down to some less than 24 cases so far this year. We're down to 2 countries. But you know how you eradicate a disease? Is you vaccinate everybody. Every newborn baby gets vaccinated in the world for this. That's not inexpensive. In honor of the Rotary Foundation's centennial, meaning that the Rotary Foundation is now going to be 100 years old this Rotary year, in honor of the very first contribution, which was $26.50, that was like about $530 in today's dollars. Seems awfully low, doesn't it? But in honor of that, Rotary International has asked us to drop the period and add a comma and give $2,650 per club. I've asked your board today, and that is the goal that has been set by the board, and they're going to talk to you about that over the course of the year. You know, I didn't join a club to just be in a club where all I did was give money. I joined a club to do lots of other things, and so it would be great for me if you could find other people's money. That's what OPM means, other people's money. I'd just as soon that you had some function where you went out and raised the money got other people to pay. You might remember this. When I was a kid, we would go and do this walk. And we would go knock on doors and we'd fill out this thing. It said how many miles that the walk would be and how much they would pledge. And usually they pledged 10 cents. You know what that was called? That was called the March of Dimes. And I would propose that we do the March of Dollars. And that we go out and get other people to understand what we're trying to do with polio. And if we can eradicate that, that would be great. When I think of what success we can accomplish in this year for which represents the 100-year centennial of the Rotary Foundation, is that we can do our part in 5950 to grow. And I think that the growth is around one fundamental idea called vibrancy. If we are vibrant, I see some vibrant colors in here, bright yellow, bright pink. Do you know that actually the brighter the color, the greater the vibration that's being sent from the color to your eye? That's what makes it vibrant, is the amount of vibration. I said last week, I was downtown Minneapolis giving a presentation, and I said, I remember when I was in college in the mid-'80s, it was a very vibrant period because we had these same very bright colors in the '80s. Remember, you go down to Pacific Club or something like that, and it was very Miami Vice, and it was just a totally different era. And that's one of the last times that we had these extreme bright colors, and I loved that. And then we went through the other periods where they were not as bright. They were kind of washed out, and we made appliances these colors, kind of ugly, right? We go through these different periods. Well, right now it's vibrant, and I like that because vibrancy is electric. Vibrancy vibrates. If your club is vibrant, people will know it. They'll know it when they come in here as guests. They'll feel it. They'll feel like they're being brought into it. I remember when I was walking down the halls of Edina Country Club, I had asked my dad, what was that thing that you were in? It had our neighborhood in it. I grew up in Morningside, and I remembered that it was Edina Morningside, and I had a personal affinity for that because I grew up there. And so he said, well, it's a Rotary Club. I said, well, what's that? He said, well, it's a club. They do service and things like that. I think you'd like it. Okay. How do I do it? Well, call Ted Field. He's that warm hands, warm heads, warm hearts guy. Okay. That was the end of the conversation. So I called up Ted. I said, Ted, my dad says you got a club that meets at Edina Country Club. I'd be interested. What I didn't tell him is that I had started a new business, and the reason I wanted to join was because I wanted to do some networking. That was my chief and exclusive reason. I had absolutely no idea what Rotary was, nor did I really care. It was just the name of it, and I knew I would find out, but at the time, all I wanted to do was network. So I didn't tell Ted that, but he told me when it met and that he'd be waiting there. So I walk on down the hall, and I remember walking through the hall thinking, this is a nice place. This is great. I'm in the financial planning business. People who come here, this has got to be perfect. I was just expecting it to be. I walk on down, and I keep getting down the hall, and the people are inside, so there's nobody right there. And I turn and I walk in, and wow, right there, somebody with a big greeter button like Josie had on today. And in fact, there were 3 of them. And they immediately said, are you Mark Hegstrom? Yes, I am. Yes, Ted Field mentioned that you would be coming. And all of a sudden I was moved in with a handshake. I was moved in and moved in again to another greeter. And then that person that last person actually put me with 4 people who were standing there talking, drinking coffee, and they started to have a conversation with me. And before I knew it, I was in another group of 4 people. They had passed me off. And I had exposure to like 10 or 11 people in the first 10 minutes. And I thought, wow, this is like me joining the fraternity. This is going to be great. That's exactly what I was looking for. And wow, I get my bacon and eggs and I sit down. And the first thing that the president says in the announcements is, well, this weekend is highway cleanup. Highway cleanup? Highway cleanup? Where? Perkins to 62. Perfect. I'll be there. I wasn't even a Rotarian. I couldn't even believe they let me come. I showed up and cleaned up the highway. I know some of you have heard this, but I found a golf ball while I was doing the cleanup. And that golf ball said the Arizona Country Club. And I said, my, that is a long drive. Anyway, I thought, wow, I didn't realize what this is. You know what? It occurred to me as a 37-year-old that I had been in the business of taking. And now it is time for me to give. And I didn't know it when I was walking down. I was ready to take again. I was ready to just, oh, this is going to be great. So for the first 10 minutes, I joined for networking. 10 minutes later, I stayed for the service. 15 or 16 years later, I stayed because of the fellowship. Like my friend Grant says, every week I look forward to Rotary. It is the highlight of my week. And he's in the Coon Rapids Club in another district. And I thought, wow, what's in the water up in Coon Rapids? Because, boy, that's powerful. That's powerful. And I told him that I was quoting him in meetings. And I could tell that he felt good about that. And he said in a follow-up note to me, he says, well, I am now the secretary on the board. And I know what that means. He's going to become president eventually, because that's the road you get on. You know what made me think is he talked about his ability to work with community leaders and people who are important in the town, and that was of benefit to him, and he loved giving back. And it made me think of membership, and it made me think of how it used to be when I was membership Mark. I was talking about one and done. And we've talked a little bit about that here today. And, you know, I remember thinking it would be just all solved if we just had enough guests. And wouldn't it be easy if you 50 people simply brought in 50 more people? And like Jeff says, the Rotary will take care of the rest. Well, I still think that's a good idea, except I found out that in practicality, that people don't do it. Not everybody does it. I mean, if they did, would I even be talking about this? No. It's hard to have everybody invite. In fact, it turns out that really only about 7% of us are able to do this. And if you think about it, most of the members come through about 4 or 5 or 6 people in this club, the most people. And that's because those people are connectors. And when you read the book from Malcolm Gladwell about that, you know that that's the case. I remember two guys woke up in the middle of the night in his book. He said one went north and one went south. They both had the same message. They both were going to warn people. And the townspeople got up and got out of bed and bared arms because of this guy, and nobody got up out of bed out of this guy. This guy was William Dawes. This guy was Paul Revere. And they both said the British are coming, and the people got out of bed because Paul Revere was the guy. He had the silversmith shop or the blacksmith shop. He was the guy that people listened to. People went to his shop, which still exists in Boston, that you can see. that he was a connector. I used to think, as membership Mark, that it was about recruitment. All we need to do is recruit. I mean, look at the United States Army. They're very good at recruiting, aren't they? They got the sauce, right? And to keep members, we'll call it retention. 2 R's, perfect. Recruitment, retention. Makes sense. But you know what? Did you recruit your wife? No. You were attracted to your wife. She was attracted to you. Or your husband. It's about attraction. It's not about recruitment. Have you ever heard of the guideline of gravity? No, you haven't. There's no such thing. It's called the law of gravity. There's absolutely no guideline of it. There's absolutely no, it's indisputable. It's crystal clear. They don't call it the guideline of attraction. They call it the law of attraction. There's really something there. There's something about attraction. If we had special glasses you could get in the back of Boy's Life magazine, I know some of you bought these, you could see the aura around people, the energy. You know that there are people that have walked in your meeting and their personality just filled up the room. There is something that we can't touch, that we can't say and define, just like we can't define what beauty is. I do know this. I can't tell you exactly how it all lines up on somebody, but I can tell you I know it when I see it. And I know it when I feel it. So the ultimate attraction is when my wife and I decided to get married. And you know, before we got married, you know what that period of time was called? Our engagement. We got engaged in our relationship. And that's what Rotary now calls it. Instead of recruitment and retention, it's called attraction and engagement. So if we get engaged in our club, if we get engaged in the service that we do, then you will keep people if they're engaged in what they're doing. If they're on the periphery and they're not doing it, they will fall off. And in fact, 50% of all members who join in the first 2 years go away. You're going to get your application in after Labor Day, right? Induction. I mean, your application's in. I mean, you're in.
She's already signed up for stuff.
And you're signed up. That's engagement. And you've got a mentorship program for new people, right? And that's an important thing to maintain. Pledge class project. When I was in a fraternity, the pledge class did a project. When I was in a fraternity, the pledge class was responsible for learning every active's name. And they had a quiz. In fact, you were lined up with this quiz, and it wasn't that. It was a lot of stress in this quiz. And you had to learn the names of everybody. And so you had to go interview each person. That would be something, wouldn't it? I remember when I joined, I was interested in networking, and yet we didn't do any networking. So when I became president, we had a speed networking. Set up these tables like this, and we had chairs on the outside and chairs on the inside. People on the inside, you stay still. Everybody has a stack of cards. We're going to ring the bell every 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes to talk. When you're done and the other person had 2 minutes, the outside all shifts, right? We did it at night, had some drinks, had some free food, and those 2 minutes that I had with people are some of the most important 2 minutes, and I still remember some of the stuff from those. And you know what? When you come in here and you say, how's it going, this and that, it's surface. It's surface. How do we really get deep into a conversation with somebody in the few minutes before we start eating our turkey? How? Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's at what we call a fireside chat. Maybe it's at a social event. It's at a tavern, or it's at a happy hour. It's something where we have the opportunity to really get to know somebody. That's important. Vibrant clubs do fun things. I was telling somebody about the elevator speech today, your board. And I said, I heard somebody give an elevator speech once on an elevator, and this is the way it went. So what's that you got there? I see you got a pin. Yeah, it's my rotary pin. Oh, really? Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, so imagine you're going, from 10 floors down, right? Yeah, well, what is Rotary? Well, Rotary is this organization of 1.2 million people that are gathered around the world in a global ding, ding. Well, that's great. See you later. I mean, I watched it happen. Didn't work. They went on to say what Rotary is. Saying what Rotary is doesn't sell. Some people say how Rotary works. Well, what's Rotary? It's this meeting we come to every Monday at noon. Oh, do we have some good food? That's how you do Rotary. That's not it. It's the why. This is a new elevator. Ding, in we come. Hey, what's that pin? Oh, that's my Rotary pin. Well, what's Rotary? I've heard of that. You know what? Rotary is a club, and we meet locally. And last weekend, we went over to this food shelf called Veep, and we packed backpacks, because it turns out that kids go to school to eat lunch, and they get to grab these backpacks and eat on the weekend. Ding. Wow. I'd like to know more about that. I'll follow up with you. See you later. Now that's an elevator speech. That's the why. We need to come up with a group why about why should you join this club. If I took a picture of this right now, it'd be pretty blah. Now it looks a lot different. So what we want to do is capture our vibrancy. So when we were going to Veep and we were packing those backpacks, that Don Stiles came to our beer event and had a booth and asked me to sign up for, and that's how my wife and I went. And we were in a line of 8 people, and we're all passing these things, and we're having a good time learning about each other. I learned more about people in that line than Jim McDonald's in your club, right? Jim here? No, he's downtown. He's at Dunwoody, isn't he? Right? It's too hard to get here, right? He's told you that, right? He told me that. Yeah. Sometimes it is, and I get that. Well, one of the bags of Cheerios had got a slit in it as we were passing, and all the Cheerios left the bag. And it was like, whoa, we all laughed, and that picture right there, that's vibrancy. You capture that picture of people having fun, doing, and you put that picture on your website. Why is that important? My son's house just sold in 12 days. That house was not sold by a realtor. That house was sold by what it looked like on the internet. So the realtor did all the work to get it done right. The realtor said, you need to clean this house. The realtor said, you got too many toys. These toys got to go. We got 2 grandkids, 2 and 4. They had a lot of toys. They said, this house really needs to be staged. You kind of got stuff kind of goofy around here. We're going to redo this. Okay? Then they come in with a professional photographer, not with a cell phone, but one that has, lenses and things, and took some pictures that are like, when I saw this thing and put it in this YouTube, PowerPoint, autoplay, magnificent thing, I was like, I haven't even been in this house. This is great. That is what sold the house. The people that bought the house knew before they showed up that they were going to buy that house. They knew that it met every single criteria. There are people that will join this Rotary Club, and the first thing they do is look at your website. There are people who have looked at your website and are not here. Now, your website's new, so not lately, because your website looks great. but you got to keep it changing. You got to keep it evolving. Because the other night we were driving along, and my wife and I were literally singing this song about a camera that you add film to, a Kodachrome. We were singing that song. And I thought, wow, how did Kodak get these two folk singers to sing about their camera so that 50 or 60 years later, I'm singing it? Wow, that's gigantic. Where's Kodak today? Dead. History. Peter Drucker says, what got you here won't keep you here. We've got to evolve. We've got to continue to grow. And we need to consider that. So this is what I think. I think that vibrant clubs attract like-minded people. I think people are dying to join this club. They don't know it yet. If you have something that captures their attention, something about you doing, like in the handout in the upper right corner, those people are making sandwiches. You make sandwiches? Yeah, it turns out that people are hungry. In addition to Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're hungry the other 363 days. Right? You know the 363 guy, right? So you make sandwiches, you take a picture of it, and people are like, wow, I can do that. I would do that. So you do these things and you put them up there. If you attract more people to do this, you're going to have a stronger base. You're going to have a stronger base with which to raise more money. You're going to have more people come to the beer tasting event at the Mall of America. You're going to have more people to donate and participate in these things, so that we can do more serving of humanity. If we serve more of humanity and we take pictures of it and we put that on our website and we change it and we ask people to take a look, we attract more people. Yet. And then that brings in more money. And then more money brings in more projects, and more projects brings in more serving humanity. And then we take pictures of that. Do you get what I'm doing? I just keep doing it over and over. That's what we need to do. That's what vibrancy is. Vibrancy is doing. Vibrancy is capturing it and being glad to be part of it and putting your arms around each other around the highway cleanup in the orange vests, or doing the cleanup, or what have you. The doing of what you do, that's what it is. And I think if we do that, we will be vibrant. I think if we are vibrant, we will bring to District 5950 a greater membership. I think that greater membership will serve humanity. I think if we do all three of those things, we indeed will be great. We will be great on purpose. Thank you.
Well, Mark, I don't think they could have picked a better theme. Rotary must have knew you were going to be a district governor, because being vibrant and fun, I think, is who you are to your core. So you couldn't be a better spokesperson for Rotary.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate you coming out and sharing those remarks. I hope the audience, I hope the members of this club kind of see some connections in what we set as club goals here a few weeks ago. Mark came out and just reiterated those very well with a lot of energy. And so as a small token of our appreciation, Mark, a Rotary speaker pin just for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.